Good morning. Phoenix here. Still, running a little bit late. Um, Trying to figure out technology still. Still showing up. Here I am. Even, yeah, yeah, it's such a journey. Showing up is such a journey. And, yeah, though I feel like I'm really committed to doing so. And this show for me is one of those, yeah, like this is my experiment to keep on showing up and peeling back more and more layers of of my own multifaceted masks that I wear to hide from myself. And so, yeah, what better way to stop hiding from myself than to come on live onto Facebook? Um, yeah, I still keep it to friends, just so you know. I'm still like, yeah, taking my baby steps, which feels really honoring. And it's something that I really wanted to talk about today. That really has been coming up a lot this week. I can talk a lot about this week and how it's been for me. Maybe you've seen the message. Would have been my dad's 75th birthday this week, and really feeling, yeah, I was really feeling that kind of tenderness and that vulnerability and that confusion and like that inner child inside of me feeling really lost and scared without that protector there by my side. And yeah, really continuing to source deeper and deeper and deeper from inside of myself all of the qualities and aspects of other that I'm looking for, recognizing that they're all in me as well. As much as I love having friends and family and loved ones and being loved and loving. Yeah, I really feel like this journey that I'm on is just such a continuous invitation to keep on diving deeper into my own self love and care and tending to. Yeah, and it's such a non-linear journey, this journey. Like I refuse to pretend that everything is just like all hunky dory. There are moments of like such sheer grace and expansion. Oh, and I love those moments. I love those moments of grace and expansion. It feels very much aligned and enlivening. And I'm also, I feel like what is tempering this being that's been forged is patience and like this waiting. I call it this the holy waiting. I remember many years ago I had a teacher that I worked with, and wow, it was probably nearly like 15, 17 years ago now. And I remember there was a lesson that she taught me then. Well, she mentioned this lesson about waiting and the sacred gift that waiting provides for us. And I mean, I was in my 20s then, and it was just like, nah, I'm so impatient of this waiting thing. I want it all now. I want it all now. And there's a part of me that wants everything that I want right now, which is probably in part a kind of the, the product of my own culture and culturing society that has been ingrained in me. This very like instant gratifying. I just pay money, I get this thing. I go to this retreat, I'm fixed. Whatever that mentality is that has been kind of woven into my encultured self. And I feel like the more and more I lean out, I should say, lean out from that and kind of begin seeing myself as this, yeah, like I am a being within the fabric of a bigger web, like humans, if we kind of take humans off of the kind of hierarchical pedestal and we like re-embed ourselves in this bigger web and fabric of creation, there's a different timeline. Like earth time is very, very slow. Nature has its own pace, its own cycles, its own seasons. And I would say, like, nature doesn't think about waiting, it doesn't think about patience. But I feel like learning to learn patience, being in nature, is such a great teacher because nothing fruits or sprouts or dies before its natural time. And I've really been, yeah, I feel like life has definitely been training me lately, to kind of remember this natural time that I'm a part of, or that's a part of me. And that even though I want all these things now, I want to be whole and healed, which I am already healed and whole, though this kind of story that I'm, still moving through stuff, which I am, and we all are. I mean, I think it's kind of inextricable. The We're in a collective metamorphosis, and so there are going to be aspects of self that are continuing to grow and die and metamorphose on this bigger scale. So this trusting and patience has been something that has been really alive for me this week, in particular around the full moon eclipse. And oops, yep, especially around the full moon eclipse. Um, yeah, like, if you know me or you've been following me or you know me, you know that ritual, ceremony, prayer, it's my thing. It's like, it's the thing that lights me up. It's what I'm here to do. I'm just going to stop questioning that. It's where I feel most aligned. All parts of me feel most aligned. And so on the evening of the full moon, we were outside under the moon, watching the eclipse, singing and praying around the fire with some beautiful friends. And of course, it's like every ritual, there's so many always opportunities, life, the cycles of nature, the cycles of the stars and the planets, and this kind of the way that everything is constantly moving and shifting gives us so many opportunities, or these perfect opportunities, I would say, to cast our prayers, to cast our intentions, to let go of the things that don't serve us. And for some reason, this full moon, I mean, it's not for some reason, it's for a reason. This full moon and eclipse really was inviting this stilling, this stilling down, like not grasping. What am I letting go of? What am I having to let go of into the fire, or purge these different layers of myself? It's like, oh gosh, I'm just, part of me so tired of the unraveling. I'm so tired of the unraveling. I'm getting really good at it, and I get tired, especially when it's bigger layers moving. And one of the things that shifted inside of me, and on that night, was when the eclipse was returning, when the moon was returning to its natural state. It was like the opposite end of the eclipse. And it's kind of like, okay, like this is the time to call in the things that we're wanting to call into our lives. And typically I'm all on top of that stuff. Like, yeah, I want this, spirit, give me this. This is what my heart yearns for. And I mean, I talk about this all the time in my classes and my courses. And so in some sense, it's like I'm feeling a little bit lighter about it today because I'm personally welcoming more lightness to balance out the density, balance out the seriousness and the weightedness of the journey that I've been on. So I really welcome at this time some lightness, some joy, some not so seriousness, a little bit of silliness, if anything, yeah. But what was really important for me under that full moon was when it was like when we all started offering what we wanted to call in. There was a part of me that's like, nah, I'm not gonna call in anything. And this is the key that I received for myself. It's like I'm not gonna call in anything because in my belief or the belief system that nothing is ever fixed. Like I feel like I would say that I've got beliefs, but they're not like, oh, they're not set in stone because I'm such a seeker, just constantly analyzing and unpacking and staying curious. What is the truth now? What is the truth today? What is the truth inside of me right now, right here? And in that moment, it was like, oh, so yeah, let me kind of stay on track. In the belief system that I work with, or that I'm like entertain or stay curious about, is this understanding or this notion that everything has already been given. Like these intentions, these desires, these heart's longings of mine, they've all already been given. Because in a sense, it's like, why would I want them if they weren't mine already, like weren't mine to have? I don't want to be a rocket scientist. I don't want to drive a Ferrari. Like I really wouldn't even know what to do with a Ferrari. Give me like a good like outback kind of four-wheel drive to get me into the middle of nowhere. I'll take that. But I'd sell the Ferrari and put that money towards my temple. But like these desires that I have inside, like they're uniquely mine. Right? We all have these unique desires or these unique longings, and so I like to kind of entertain this notion that these these desires, these longings, they're here because they've already been cast into the field of being, of creation. It's just like not on this kind of linear timeline, this three-dimensional timeline that we're so blessed and sometimes not to live inside of. And so this understanding that everything has already been given. And so how do I actually just stand in that space rather than like, oh, I really need this thing, spirit. I really want this thing. Like I'm begging. Like I'm tired of begging or pining for the things that aren't here right now. It's like kind of painting my canvas with this like lack, scarcity. I don't have the things. I'm not the thing. I'm not enough yet. I still have all this work to do. Rather than like, oh man, like it's already been given. So how do I actually align myself to that attitude, to that knowing? And so under this full moon, rather than being like, oh, I want all these things, it was just like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Like working with my attitude of gratitude. Thank you for creating the space for me to step into this life that I've been working towards living. Thank you for clearing the space for me to receive these prayers that I've been casting for months, for years into the field of creation. And that small minor shift has been a really big shift for me. The way that I was relating to it yesterday. Hey, Sarah. Oh, Sarah, this is what I was wanting to tell you yesterday. Um, yeah, like what I realized is kind of like if I had a friend, so spirit's my friend, God's my friend. This I'm in co-creation. I'm in dialogue with this force, more than human force, and it's like I have these prayers that I speak that offer to the fire, to the wind, to the water, in myself, in my own space every day. I love praying. It gives me a sense of solace, a sense of comfort, a sense of groundedness, a sense of connection, which I need to keep moving forward. Hey, Sabina. And so, what I was realizing yesterday, it's kind of like, if I had a friend that was calling me every day, oh hey Phoenix, I really need this thing. I really need this thing. Do you get it? You get it? You get it? I need this thing. I need this thing. I need this thing. Do you have this thing? Do you have this thing? When is it coming? When is it coming? Is it here now? I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. It's just like, fuck. I tell that friend, like chill out. It's coming. Just wait. Be patient. It's coming. I've got it, you know? So it's like, as I continue to deepen my relationship to spirit, yeah, you totally did. It did. As I continue to deepen my relationship to spirit, it's like, spirit's my friend. Spirit, I say that for lack of a better word. Use whatever word you want: God, creator, great mystery, Tankashila, any of the millions of names that we have for this more than human force beyond ourselves, and it's like, spirit's my friend. And I've like called spirit so many times from so many altars and so many ceremonies for so many years, like, hey, spirit. And I feel like what I received under the eclipse the other day was spirit was just like, babe, I got it. I got the memo. Just chill out and let me take care of the details. Can you just chill out and let me take care of the details? And this recognition inside of me was just like, oh, this is where my trust grows. This is where I'm being invited into deeper trust. Because even sitting and like in ceremony and ritualing and like, oh, give me this thing or let me, I mean, I'm not going to stop doing ritual because I love it. Though I have a feeling that there's like a new perspective that's growing inside of me around it. And that's the attitude that I bring to that. Like, it's already been given. Spirit's already on it. Spirit's got the memo. Like, I've detailed it so many times. I've given so much. I continue to get clearer and clearer and clearer. And what's being invited for me is to just be able to sit more and more with the discomfort of not knowing when it arrives. Being able to sit in the stillness and this kind of waiting, I'm waiting for this impatient part of me, like, what? I don't want to wait. The what if it's in the waiting that I actually become more and more open and receptive to receiving exactly what is coming for me. That if I'm constantly like, it's not here, it's not here, I'm looking, it's not here, it's not here, it's like I'm looking everywhere except just right where it's coming from, which is, it's like it's coming to me. Spirit knows my exact coordinates. GPS got that down, the grand organizing design knows exactly where I am. And so, can I simply allow myself to be in this sacred, holy waiting? And in that space, like, meet the discomfort that comes and allow that discomfort to even kind of support me to sink my roots down even more deeply and open this channel of receptivity even more, because it's already been given. Like, if it's already been given, but I'm not open and available to receive it, then how is it going to come? You know? So this is something that I'm really staying open and curious to, because it feels really ripe and exciting for me. Because rather than sitting here like, oh, it's the time, it's just, oh fuck, it's like going, everything feels like I'm moving so slowly, I'm evolving so slowly, like I'm doing all this work, and I don't have these results. But it's like I'm missing all of the results that are already here. This resiliency, this deepening in trust, this like knowing that I'm so absolutely worthy of receiving my heart's deepest desires. When I'm seeking and I'm grasping, I'm also forgetting that I'm worthy of my prayers being manifest. Though if I can sit still, patiently, trustingly, waiting, it's almost like I don't need to grasp because I already know that I'm worthy of receiving. And so the waiting becomes, it's like, yeah, I'm just totally here, chilling, knowing that it's coming, staying open, receptive, curious. Ooh, ooh, in awe and wonder of the way that the whole entire path is unfolding. Hey, Miriam, how the whole entire path is unfolding specifically for me in the most extraordinary of ways, so that when it's here before me, it's almost like, oh my God, it's here. And I don't even question my deservedness or my worthiness because there is just such an inner, grounded, open knowing that it's just like, yeah, thanks, Spirit. Thanks for making me wait for it because it's so much more delicious. I can savor it so much more because I've like sat there broiling in my own juices, kind of waiting. And in that waiting, it builds more and more resiliency inside of myself. And that for me feels like, it just feels like such a different way of navigating this non-linearity of spirit time. Um, and it's just kind of like, yeah, spirit's totally got me. It's like working on my order. And when it arrives, knowing that I'm going to be ready. And I am ready for all of the things that are already arriving, you know? And if I'm like continuously looking where the things that aren't here yet are, I'm actually missing all the things that are already coming. Like, gosh, I'm getting showered with miracles every day. Though when I'm focused on all the places that I'm still lacking, I'm I'm not feeling the grace that is abounding everywhere. And I know this is kind of like, Abraham Hicks and Joe Dispenza 101, I work with this stuff as well, but it's like it's a different thing for me to like talk about it, to read about it, to entertain it, and then to have this like visceral knowing of it. And so I'm saying that this eclipse really something kind of woke up in me, and it's just like, oh, this lesson of the holy waiting that my teacher Joanna gave me, maybe 20 years ago. And I was just like, no, not for me. It's like, oh, it's taken this much time and maturing and dismantling of old thought patterns and paradigms for me to be like, oh, there's something really magical here. And if I know how to wait, I know how to trust. And when I know how to trust, I can work with everything. Everything becomes more and more magical. The risk becomes so much less. Like the fear becomes something that enlivens and exhilarates and empowers rather than kind of like makes me, keeps me small. And so yeah, that's what I'm interested in exploring at this time. This trust in the process. I've had this poster that my friend Amanda made sitting next to me for a few years now, trusting the process. And I think trust is probably one of the greatest lessons I feel this human has come here to remember. That like there is no, even though there's so much dismantling and disentangling that's happening. Like it's all happening for me to remember that I'm part of something so much bigger than my mind could ever understand, and something that is, in essence, I believe, benevolent and full of grace. And if it's a choice, you know, to see to see reality as kind of, like broken and falling apart and empty and dying, or like full of life and possibility and abundance and like empowerment, and like it's all like supporting me, you, us, we, to become what we are destined to be, like the intelligence of the acorn that's inside the intelligence of the oak tree that's inside the acorn. Like if that's the choice, then I choose to see myself, like in this friendly universe, because it's empowering. And this is my life, and the body and the brain and the heart and the soul that I reside inside of. And if it's a choice, that's the choice that I choose. Yeah, so I feel like this waiting, this patience, this deepening in trust, even though sometimes it feels so dark and so intense and excruciatingly uncomfortable, simultaneously it is like fortifying this strength, this inner strength, this inner resiliency, and this bright beacon of light that is here to shine through the darkness and lead the way for me. That's really what I'm here to do. I'm here to find my way through the darkness, and if my light so happens to shine bright enough to light the way for somebody else to find their own light, then yes, 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 yes. How do we do that for ourselves and for one another? How do we lead by that example to be this beacon for, like, so we can see where we're going, see what's through the darkness, and so that we can like find one another in the darkness. And final thing I'm going to say, because I need to go, is like, yeah, right now I feel like I'm having to keep these blinders on. Kind of like, I'm not looking at all this shit over here that's like drawing my attention into the suffering, into the like I'm not good, or things are still not whole, whatever thought patterns kind of take me away from like, okay, trust. I'm trusting. I might be blind, but there is such a deeper vision that is growing inside of me, that is walking me. And all I need to do is just focus on this next step. And I just need to focus on that next step and that next step and that next step and that next step. And if I can just focus one step at a time, it's like my daily, probably like I say this mantra to myself like multiple times a day. Just one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time. Like I know that I'm going. Like there is no doubt. I'm going. Like I am I'm following that trajectory of those prayers, of those arrows, of those intentions that I've already cast. I don't even need to know when they land or how they land or what they're going to land on. I just need to trust in this being that's cast those prayers forth, and trust in the bigger force that is like calling me and is supporting me, because like the acorn, I'm destined to be who I'm here to be. So yeah, that's my riff today. Yeah, take it or leave it. I'm gonna take me. Definitely never leave me. But yeah, thank you for those of you who are here. Bless you. I love you. And I'll see you next week, maybe with a guest. I'm taking guests. People want to be my guest. Be my guest. Send me a memo. Um, we have a roster that Sabina made that we have that people can sign up. It's more fun if I got a guest. It's less edgy because I don't have to be so exposed on my own. So whether I have a guest or I keep showing up on my own, I'm gonna keep showing up in trust, in patience. I'm working on patience, but yeah, I'm gonna keep working on that. Or I wouldn't say working. I'm gonna just keep on letting it work on me. Yeah. Have a beautiful day.